Hi, and welcome to the So Many Things YouTube channel. I'm Tim, your host. Here you get to sew with the boys, quilt with the boys, embroider with the boys, and of course, mostly have some fun, and you might learn something along the way. Stay tuned!
Hello everybody, and welcome to our revised version of Strip Club. So instead of stripping with the boys in person, you are now going to be stripping with the boys on a video. And for this video, we're going to be showing you how to do the cactus wreath pattern by Cozy Quilt Designs. So behind me is our version of the cactus wreath pattern, and here is the version that is on the pattern. The fabric that we've chosen is by Wilmington Prints. It's called Madison. We have it available in strip packs. We have it available in the kit for the quilt. And we also have yardage available in all of the fabrics. In order to get the green in our quilt, there is an extra piece of fabric included in the kit. That piece of fabric will be cut into 2.5-inch strips, and what you will use as color number 1. I'm going to be showing you how to do the 3 blocks in the quilt. The first block is called the wreath block. The second block is a log cabin block. And the third block is a flower block. So let's get started with our blocks. The wreath block is the easiest block to make in this pattern. As you see, I've laid out the fabrics that you'll be using for each block. You will need to make 2 versions of this block, one as shown here, and then I'm going to rearrange the fabrics. And then this is the second version. You will need to make 4 of each one. To start with, you take your middle pieces and you attach the 2.5-inch square to the 8.5-inch rectangle and the 6.5-inch butterfly rectangle to the 4.5-inch white rectangle. Next step is to put together those 2 rectangles, and then we're going to attach the 10.5-inch by 2.5-inch floral pattern onto the bottom and the 4.5 by 10.5-inch white print onto the top. Now here is the finished wreath block. It's a 10.5-inch unfinished square, and this is one of the sides, and then the one I made earlier is the other one. So in the pattern to make the size that we made, which is a throw size, you need 8 of these, 4 of this one and 4 of this one. It'll look like that. Please remember that you will be using different fabrics in your project, so they won't mirror like this one necessarily. You will have a variation of fabrics, so all of your background will be the same, but all of the other pieces can be different and should be different, but they won't be green. The next block I'm going to show you is the log cabin. Notice this is a little untraditional log cabin because we've got this square right here in the corner, and that's going to be all of the log cabin blocks in this quilt. The other thing to notice is the placement of the green. Now you will be cutting your green strips and placing them in particular places, and in your log cabin, 1 green 2.5-inch square, and then an 8.5-inch by 2.5-inch and an 8.5-inch by 2.5-inch are the outer border on one side of this block. Now I'm going to show you how to put it together. This construction is basically your standard log cabin construction. We're going to put the center square and the next square to it together first, as shown here.
Okay.
Now we've taken the center two blocks and added the first rectangle to that one. And now we're going to go on to the second rectangle. We've added our first round of color on the other side. I do want to mention that your blocks will all be different as far as the colors go. And that is perfectly fine as long as you have the green center square and the green on the outer border. So now I'm going to add the bottom piece of color. Okay, so now there's the bottom added. And if you're having trouble with your blocks staying in square, there are tools that you can get and templates that will help you keeping your log cabin blocks in square. Most of the time I do have to trim up slightly, and that does help in the long run if you square it up with each square going all the way around, because then you don't have a big problem at the end of it not being in square. Now I'm going to go back to the white side and add on the border of white. Now we've added the one white rectangle, and now I'm going to go on to the top right white rectangle. We've completed the one side of the log cabin, and now we're going to join the square and the rectangle for the other side. So I'm going to be joining this piece to this piece. Now I've joined those two pieces. Now I'm going to add the side of green onto this side of the log cabin. Okay, so I've attached the one green side, and now I'm going to attach the bottom pieces that I created. Now look, here is the finished log cabin block with the anchor square of a different color. Remember, your blocks will all be different, but you do have to have the green in the center and the green on the outside border. And now we're going to go on to the flower block. So here are the pieces for the flower block. As you see, there are a few more pieces than in the other blocks. This block has a little more time element than the other ones. We're going to be making half square triangles, and we're going to be also joining the squares onto the longer pieces with angles. This requires us to draw lines on the backs of our white squares right here, and I will be doing that as we go along. So on to making the block. We'll be making a half square triangle, and we're going to take our white fabric, wrong side, and draw a diagonal line with my Frixion pen, corner to corner. Then we're going to take right sides together, the white square and the green square. Here's our white square and our green square right sides together with my line drawn and on a diagonal. The directions call for sewing on one side of the line, and they do this so that when you fold over, you are folding and getting your correct measurement, the correct measurement for the half square triangle. So we're going to want to have the fold go like this, and so we're going to sew on this side of the line. Okay, so now I've sewn, and notice I've sewn to the left of the line, so you can basically see the line, and then after I cut, we're going to fold it over like that, and you're going to have your half square triangle. And in cutting, you're going to put your mark on your ruler right on your line, not on your sewing line, but on your drawn line. Okay, so, oops. So there's our half square triangle. And the next direction is to sew a 2.5 inch white square onto the top of this. Okay, so now here is our white square added to our half square triangle, and then we're going to add another piece onto it, this piece, but we have to create an angle on this one with a piece of white fabric also. This angle is an opposite angle from the one that you made before, and that is highlighted in the directions and very important, and I always try to put my angle in and then check it to make sure it is the way I want it to go. And this one, so once again, I'm going to draw my line on the back of my white square. Like that. Place it on there, and this time we're folding this up like this. So I'm going to sew on the right side of the line. Now I'm going to trim off the correct triangle. Once again, placing the ruler so it is right on my drawn line with my 1/4 inch seam. And fold it open, and look, we're going to put this one on this one, and there we have our 4.5 inch square, which is the middle of our flower. Now we're going to be adding the floral pieces onto the right side of the flower, and to create these we need to do some angled sewing again. So we're going to flip the white over onto the colored pieces, and we want this line, or we want this piece to fold this way, identical to that one. So we're going to draw our line. And then this one, we want it to mimic that one, so we're going to go that way. So those two angles are the same. We're going to draw our line. Okay, and now I'm going to sew. Remember, I'm going to be folding this way on this one. So I'm going to want to sew to the right side of this line, and I'm going to be wanting to fold this way on this one, so I'm going to be wanting to sew to the left side of that line. Now I've marked, sewed, and trimmed my floral pieces and my white squares. So now I'm ready to attach them, and I'm going to attach this side first because it's shorter, and then this side because it's going to encompass that piece when it's attached. So I attached those pieces, and now we have a little break from creating the angles, and we are going to attach two solid rectangles, one onto the top and one onto the left side. And now for the last border on the right side, we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to create our angles just like we did with the same angles, and attach them, and then we're going to be done. So
that doesn't make any sense. Try that again.
I don't know what Okay, so now here is our finished flower block. Isn't it really, really nice? And again, when you're making our pattern, the only thing that will be the same is the green in the center. Your fabrics on the right side will probably be different, but your backgrounds will still be white on your left side. It wasn't that easy, those 3 blocks making up this beautiful quilt behind me. One reminder, it is very important that you keep squaring your blocks up while you're making them. It will make it so much easier to put the quilt together. The patterns and the kits and the strip packs are available online. Again, it's the Cactus Wreath pattern by Cozy Quilt Designs. The strip pack is the Madison collection from Wilmington Fabrics. And the kits are $95.95. They include the pattern and the strip pack, the extra fabric for the green and the background, the binding. Also available online. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this.